The stuff that you and I are doing, Oscar, is more about just people following along with the journey. And the other neat thing is that we're doing these reels. I'm enjoying doing it, but I'm also going to give that to the client. They will always have the story of their project to them. That's a gift to them.
Welcome to the Home Show, where we sit down with builders, designers, and real estate professionals shaping the spaces we call home. I'm your host, Oscar Michaels, founder of hOMe Media. And in each episode, we dive into the stories behind the brands, the strategies behind the success, and the marketing moves that help these local leaders stand out. From concept to completion, from startup to legacy, this is where real conversations happen. Let's get into it. John, welcome to the first episode here at the hOMe Show podcast.
Thank you, Oscar. I'm honored.
I appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
This is exciting. One for me, hopefully for you.
Yeah.
I think the listeners that are going to hear some of these episodes, this one and future ones, are going to learn a lot. I know I've learned a lot working with you and other, contractors, builders, architects. There's a lot that goes into the space. We'll touch on a bunch of different points, which I had already, sent to you, which I'm excited to talk about. Some things will be, your background and how you work and how you run a super successful local business. And then also some of the aspects that, took to get to that level that you're at now in terms of like marketing and stuff like that. Why don't you tell everyone about, who you are, where you came from, a little bit about your background?
First off, I'm always happy to share. I'm an open book. As most people know, there's plenty of work out there, and it's something that I've learned along the way. It wasn't that way when I first started, but if we all grow together collectively as a community, right? Contractors and obviously other businesses too, but I always feel like everybody should just join forces and collectively raise the bar, right? Professionalism, and learn off each other and learn from mistakes. And that wasn't always the way in the beginning. In the beginning, it's like, I know that guy. I'm not going to talk to him. He's my competition. It's like,
yeah. I feel like everyone, when they start their business,
that's how it is. It's obviously, we're entrepreneurs. There's a competitiveness to it, right?
100%.
But I feel like, especially as I get older, mistakes that I've made, and you want to share those because you want everybody to be successful. Like I said, there's plenty of business out there, and honestly, like your business, how you build it, it's up to you to keep it, right? So in other words, like the relationships that you create, it's up to you. Like if you lose a job if you're doing a job and suddenly you lose it to a colleague, well then there's a reason. You can't go, oh, they just stole it. No, well, there's a reason. You turn the camera around, look in the mirror. Don't look through the window, look in the mirror. What did I do wrong to lose that? So it just always felt like if we can collectively raise the bar, I just feel like in terms of professionalism, it's just something that I've learned along the way.
100%. Well, tell everyone about, how you started and like how Gemmi Construction came about. The star was born.
In the beginning. Well, if you asked me when I was, 12 or 13 years old, what I was going to be, it probably would have been a pilot of what I would have told you. Always wanted to fly. But when I was 14, that all changed. I was always playing with Legos and Lincoln Logs, and I was always tinkering. I was the kid out in the woods building tree forts with my buddies. There was a neighborhood being built, and we go at nighttime and you pull some 2x4s out of the pile and some bricks and whatnot. We go into the woods and we would build tree forts and things like that. So that started. And my father, we never hired a contractor for anything in our house. My dad did everything and I was his helper. It's from little all the way up. So I learned a little bit of everything from him. And then when I was 14, we had our basement finished. My dad did not do that on his own. It was too big of a project. So he went and we hired a local builder here. And I was down in the basement. It was during the summer. And they were framing out the walls. And they let me be down there to help them. So I thought I was helping. But I was just in awe. I'm like, wow, that's what you do with those 2x4s. You don't stack them against the tree and put branches against someone. You don't nail them in and build a platform up. You actually make stud walls. And so I was really fascinated from it. It was that point forward, they let me hold the drywall, and they were very kind. And I have this company in high regards. They're very well known in Doylestown. I'll just call Jarrett and Vaughn, Tom Jarrett and Brian Vaughn. Those guys, my mentors. they have set the bar for what I wanted to be. And I knew from that point forward I was going to be a carpenter, never a business owner.
Really?
I was going to be a carpenter. And, you know, school for me I wasn't extremely studious in school. I wasn't really into it. I was more into the environment and doing things with my hands and learning by hands. You give me a book, I could read the book and tell you nothing about what I read.
I'm the same
But
way.
you put tools in my hand and, hey, you got to take this board and straighten it out with this block plane. Oh, okay. And you push through the grain. You're like, oh, that's, wow. Oh, turn the board around. Oh, the grain goes that. Oh. So I would learn by touch and feel. So school, again, school was not my strong point, but when I was age appropriate, I wanted to go to the tech school. I knew I was going to go to tech school for carpentry. And I'm glad that at the time, the tech school was kind of a dumping ground, but I'm glad that my parents weren't like, you need to go to college. You know, they kind of sensed that college wasn't going to be for me.
Sure.
So as soon as I walked in, I'm kind of giving you a little bit through the timeline. As soon as I walked into the tech school and walked into the wood shop and I smelled the wood, and it brought back the memories of working in my basement, that and I met all my friends that I'm still very close with today. So these are my people. This is it. And I just went through the tech school program and just accelerated and just did great. And school for me was kind of secondary. So fast forward to when I was of working age, I was still at the tech school, and I went to go knock on the door of Brian Vaughn, and they weren't hiring at the time, but they're like, yeah, John, they weren't, but whatever reason. So I walked across the street and knocked on Jay Maxwell's door and became very close with that whole family. And I hold them in high regards too. So I ended up working for Jay for 10 years.
Wow.
1987 to 1997. And during that time, I became very close. The family, they became part of our family. And Jay, I learned so much from that crew. And I just started developing my skills and learning from the mentors that worked for them.
And you're hands-on at this point.
Hands-on. I'm all hands-on. About 3-4 years in, I graduate. I'm now working for Jay. But I also have another side thing that I enjoy that brings me joy is cars. So
I know.
I was into building cars. I bought my first car when I was 14, an old 1967 Camaro. It didn't work. I took it all apart, figured out how to get it work. My dad again and the guys in the neighborhood, we got it running, and I drove it when I was 16. And I always wanted it to, I was always trying to fix it up and make it better. Well, I needed money for that hobby. And so I was working for Jay. I was also pumping gas at nighttime, trying to just get as much money as I could and putting it into these cars and building cars. And
Sure.
My buddies that I met at the tech school were in auto body. And so we were just always working on things. So built that up from there. Started doing side jobs. And because in my parents' house needed a roof.
Sure.
So on the weekend, get a couple of the guys from when I was working with during the week. Hey, guys, want to do a roof this weekend? Yeah, no problem. I go over to Jay. Jay, how do you estimate a roof? He's like, why don't you measure this and measure that, and come on over to my office. Jay's wonderful, man. Come over to my office, and I'm going to show you. Boom, shows me. He gets his notepad out, his calculators. Boom. He's like, this is what you do. And figure out what you guys want to make and in charge, and then, that's it. So my parents, we did the roof in the weekend. We ripped it off and put the roof on. Paid the guys, they got paid. My parents paid them, and then
Sure.
I made a little. They paid me a couple bucks, But I learned, and we cleaned up, but the neighbor needed a roof. They're like, "Hey, you guys did that fast." So we did their roof, and before you know it, I'm in the neighborhood doing all the roofs. Like every other weekend, I had all the guys from the work job site, and they're working. I'm about 2 years graduated at this point.
Okay.
So, and I'm now learning the people side of it.
Sure.
Learning how to deal with people. And they're all my neighbors. So it was a perfect practice ground, right?
Absolutely.
So we're doing roofs, like not every weekend, but probably 2 or 3 in the summer, maybe 4. And the next is just leapfrog. All the roofs needed to be replaced. And we knew all the neighbors like, let's give Johnny a chance. So that neighbor was friends with a neighbor in the other neighborhood over that I didn't know. And they said, oh, we need, you just did a roof. Who did it? John, got to talk to him. And at the time, I looked really young, not so much today, but
Hair down to your ass.
I had hair, ponytail, I was full hair. I ended up going and knocking on the door, and the next neighborhood over, and I'm here to, they're like, can we help you? I'm like, hi, I'm John Gemmi. I'm here to measure your roof. They're like looking at me like, is your dad around the corner?
Your uncle coming?
Really, you? I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So sure enough, did that roof, and then my parents needed a deck, so needed the deck replaced and expanding it. So, Jay, how do you do that? This is what you do. Boom, boom, boom. Did the deck. Next neighbors, that kind of grew from there, and then the next thing is my parents' house needed all new windows. Jay, how do you measure? Because I knew how to build and do the work, but I didn't know how to estimate it, measure it, and estimate it. So Jay took me under his wing, showed me. So I very high regards for Jay Maxwell and the whole Maxwell family.
So it's just a big snowball effect from that
big
point.
Snowball effect. And I just kept learning, and then meeting new people, and it spread out. So fast forward to 1997, and I was getting calls I was doing weekend work all the time. And I'm like, it's time. I'm going to do this. And my best friend who I met at tech school, his mother is still a graphic artist. She created my logo, and she said, you're starting a business, and I'm helping you. Like, really? She's like, yep, you're doing this. I'm like, okay. She took me to her accountant, who is still my accountant today. She created our logo that everybody sees today. That's 28 years old. That never changed. And she encouraged me to use my last name as a business, just because of, using your last name is, more of your, it's not like,
Sure.
So she just taught me that. So I've kept all that, and she got me set up. And then Jay, I had to go and tell him that day. I remember going up to his office. I'm like, Jay, he's like, I knew this day was coming. And he said, I'm here if you ever need me. And so that was how it started. And the first 5 years, I'm kind of going through the timeline. I don't know if I'm going too fast or too slow.
No, I think it's great.
That first 5 years was rough because I knew all the stuff from side work, but I still had a job. So I still was able to, things I didn't know and understand, I just kind of dove right into it.
There's a lot of that too. Like when you first get started, there's no written book.
Well, because remember, I didn't go to college. I barely got through school, but when I got into carpentry, I was like, this is it. But go back to, I got to do like balance a checkbook. Really? I got to do paper? I don't know. I had to learn. So the first 5 years were rough. I made a lot of mistakes. And, of course, I would get a job and I would do it. And I'd be like, oh, we're building this. This is awesome. This turned out great. And you're like, wonder what I'm going to do next week. Right. I was so focused on making this molding and doing all this stuff that I don't have a project to go to. Now it's just me.
Sure.
Call up Jay. Hey, Jay, you need some help for a couple weeks? Come on back, Johnny. You can come back. So he let me come back and work. So I'd work for maybe a month or two until I get the next job lined up, and then I'd break away again. No, I helped Jay at that point as a sub. And then I would go and do another, and then the jobs would get more involved. Go to Jay's office. Here's how you do it, Johnny. He taught me. So that learning from him,
man,
on how to be a kind person and to teach, started building these seeds in my head about business, right? But I made some mistakes, and he's like, well, look, he guided me through it. And then I just remember, getting the jobs and I say starting a business for me, it's like a plane taking off, right? You take off, but it's real heavy. The plane's heavy. So it takes off and it comes down and lands again. And then it takes up again and then it does this. So those times I touched down were back working. I had a job to do and then I hit the ground again. Okay. Then I signed the next one and then boom. I'm like, well, what am I doing? I need to be marketing and getting the next job when I'm halfway through that project so that when that project ends, I have the next job to go to. So instead of building it like this, going job, land on the ground, job, it was job, sign the next one, finish it, build off that one, the next one, finish it, and build up, right? Okay. So that's what I ended up figuring out. But that took 5 years and making many mistakes. And thank goodness for Jay who always was welcoming back. Even today, if I call Jay up, I go, he call back. They're just, the whole family is just wonderful people. So, but what that taught me was to be able to give back, right?
So tell me, like, all those date nights, you and Lizzie, like, obviously she was a big player and a big piece of what Gemmi is today. So tell me how, like, Lizzie was interwoven and in the mix with Gemmi Construction, and how that came about.
She came on board in the very beginning, almost like the year I met her, the year Gemmi Construction started. Her mother was one of my first clients.
You told me this story one time at the bar.
Yeah.
Refresh my memory.
Yeah. So Doylestown Lumber, when I first started Gemmi Construction, I knew all the guys at Doylestown Lumber, and people would call up Doylestown Lumber and say, hey, we're looking for somebody to replace some rotted wood or replace a window. And they would always recommend me. You're going to be in good hands with John. So her mother called looking for a new handyman to help her with some of the wood was rotted around the windows. And they gave her my name. So I went out there. I met her mother. Her mother is an absolute hoot. We had such a blast. She looked at the work to be done, and I'm walking into the house, and I'm single at the time, but I'm 26, 27.
Hard to believe.
Yeah, I know. Well, oh, geez, thanks. So I as you got older, because I didn't go to college, I didn't meet girls that way. We met them the traditional way. Well, I saw a picture of Lizzie when I walked in the door on the right on the foyer table there. I'm like, oh, it's very, very, seems like a very nice, attractive, girl. I'm like, I was like, come out talking to her mother and blah, blah, blah. And her mother's like, well, here's what I need to have done and this and that. I'm like, no problem. We can definitely do that. And so I come back like the next week and I start doing the work, and she would make me homemade iced tea, and it was sitting on the table. And I'm sitting in there and I'm having some iced tea with her, and she's like, oh, my daughter and her boyfriend and and she was complaining, and I saw their pictures of her. And while I was working on the house, she had come home and left, and I saw her. I'm like, huh. I'm like, she's, caught my eye.
Just like in the photo.
Exactly. It's just like in the photo. And so when her mother's complaining, I said, well, listen, you tell your daughter if she wants a responsible young man to date, I'm her guy. Because at that point, I had been there for a couple days.
Sure.
And if you met my mother-in-law, one thing she can do is talk.
Sure.
And it's a gift that she's given to my wife, who can talk. They're talkers. So, and I can talk too, obviously. So we just hit it off really well, and we were laughing, and I thought, I'm like, oh, whatever. Well, another 2 weeks later, Mom calls me again and says, hey, we need some clothes posts put in the ground. And my daughter's going to be here. If you can come, and she'll show you where I want the poles put in the backyard. Go out there, and I don't want to get too far down the weeds, but we met, we talked, we set up a date, we went out, we've been together ever since. There's a lot of story in between that, but that'll be for another time. But immediately we hit it off, and we have been together ever since, and it's now almost 30 years.
Wow.
29 years the 29 years this year that we've been together ever since. I had just started Gemmi Construction. I didn't know how to balance a checkbook. I mean, I knew I could barely write a check, and I had the old one write check system. And so Lizzie was in college at the time and going to school to be she was in a medical tech.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She was went to Del Val and was going to school to be a med tech, and then ultimately got a job in the virology lab in St. Christopher's Hospital while we were dating. But she started to help me balance my checkbook and started helping me on the business side of it, because it was just me. And she's like,
daunting task sitting in the office.
I had a box of receipts, and she's like, I can go through that. I'm like, so that was that. So years, we got engaged and we moved in together, and she was still going to St. Christopher's, and but she would come home she was working in the virology lab and coming home with sick all the time with these crazy illnesses. And
oh my gosh,
because she was working in a virology lab that wasn't really, at that time, wasn't a clean lab. Now they're all state of the art, but then it wasn't. So we decided too that we wanted to have children. And so she's like, well, maybe I'll step back from that work in the office and let's, start a family. 5 more years later, the kids didn't come, but we tried. And she ended up running the office.
Wow.
And she took all of the skills that she had learned in the virology lab. So a lot of what happens in our company today all comes from what she has learned in the lab. The process is everything is an if, then, and what. Like, okay, if then, does it happen this way? No, then that. Like a yes, no statements. Things kind of run smoothly how the office and everything works. And
Absolutely does. Every time I call over there or whatever, everything's just done so quickly and in an organized fashion.
yeah, that's Lizzie brought that to the table, and very grateful for her for that. So, and she's still very involved, not as much now, but she's still very involved. She still signs all the checks and looks over reports. And she has a different role now as mom.
Yeah, absolutely.
But she's still very involved in the office, and she's got to take care of me and the kids. And
it's so important to have like that critical thinking partner or someone in your business that thinks that way, because I don't know, you and I seem to, in my opinion, think the same in terms of like, oh, let's get this done, let's do it that way, this way, and then you need someone to step back and be like, well, if you do it that way, there's going to be mistakes and errors or whatever.
You're exactly right. It's like having that somebody that just a fresh set of eyes that look at it in a different perspective, that actually doesn't have construction background, that just was very obvious to her, like, well, how she did organize the books. And then she's very bright, so she picks up on things really quickly. Like she would well, I don't know, what does this in QuickBooks? Like she figured out QuickBooks on her own, taught herself QuickBooks. And then, whatever help she needed, we were in a peer networking group. We were a part of NARI. Again, you've heard me talk about that. We've met other contractors that also wives are part of the business. And this one particular contractor, Calfayan Construction, Laura Calfayan, is a QuickBooks guru. She came to our office and taught Lizzie a lot of the secrets keys to QuickBooks, which was fantastic. And that's another part of the reason why we want to give back to the community, is because the community and the people that are close to us have helped us. So now we want to help others.
Sure.
And I remember the first 5 years, again, being rough. But I wanted to take the business to like the next level. I'm like, okay, I'm still making these mistakes. And I think I've exhausted what I'm going to learn from the people in my current circle of influence. And I had another contractor friend. He's like, you need to come and join NARI. NARI stands for the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Just remember working like, well, we meet on Thursday nights. I'm like, well, I'm doing estimates on Thursday night. I don't have time to go to these things. And what am I going to go and sit with a room full of contractors? And, and it's my buddy, my contractor friend who was involved with NARI, says, no, you need to come. Come as my guest. He says, this is a group of contractors that are going to take you maybe to that next level. I'm like, well, I got an estimate tomorrow night, this and that. He said, well, that's the first thing we're going to fix. You shouldn't be doing estimates at nighttime, and you got to start getting it set up so that, that you're not working 80 hours, So I'm like, well, how's that work? Because I'm wearing all the hats.
Yep.
So went to my first NARI meeting. I remember sitting at the table, and I'm sitting around like, I recognize you. And I'm a little intimidated, and I'm like, I recognize all these people from the local lumberyard. I'm like, And so one guy gets up, and he's like, hey, and it was an Andersen window spokesperson teaching you about Andersen windows. And then there was a business coach there talking to you about business. And I remember sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And then I was like, well, this is the problem that I'm making. And I felt like weird, like it was like a therapy round table. And the one contractor that was at that table, his name was Joe Billingham. And he's still in business today. And again, another amazing contractor in the area among the many. And he's to come to my office, and I'm going to teach you how to make a construction schedule. I'm going to teach you more, the next level up from what you're doing. And he's like, and teaching me about markup and margin. And I'm like, so I ended up going up to his office, and he opened up everything and showed me everything. I'm like, this is just incredible. I'm like, this is just... So I got really involved with NARI. I didn't just become a member. I actually got involved. And because I was so happy with what they gave me that I wanted to start thinking like, okay. And I learned, and in the first couple of years in NARI, my business climbed again. And I started hiring the right people, because you never have your very first employee. So
sure.
Yeah, you'll never have your first employee, because when you're first starting out, you're like, hey man, you're cool. Yeah, you're we are buddies. We're going to start this.
Had a lot of beers with you.
I've had a lot of beers with you. I like the way you think. And so you're then you're working, you're like suddenly like showing up late. You're like, the heck is he? Oh man, too much or whatever. And you're like, okay, and you start learning what attributes that you don't want. It's not so much about what you do, it's about learning about what you don't. And
so true.
So if you know what you start to smell them out early. So during that next, after NARI, 2 years into NARI, now we're about year 7 into Gemmi Construction, year 6. I had signed a really nice big project. During this whole time, I'm actually creating a lot of good clients.
Sure.
Because no matter what I did, I always made sure I did it right and I stood behind it. And even if I made a mistake, I never went back to somebody and said, hey, listen, I made a mistake estimate. It's actually going to cost you more. I never did that, ever. I've always just eaten it and learned from it. I call those opportunities.
100%.
And fortunately, some of them were big eats, and some of them put me in debt, and I really didn't want to do that again. And that was the other part where Joe Billingham helped me, because I made some mistakes, and he helped me understand more about the numbers side of it. And then when I got involved with NARI, I joined like the finance committee, and I joined there was accountants. So I just started learning by doing. Again, by doing and by need, not by because somebody gave me a book and said, study this and give you a test. So I grew more. I hired my first 3 employees that came from a company that I met in NARI that they were deciding to dissolve.
Sure.
Because the partners wanted to do different things. And the one partner, because when I also got involved with NARI, we did a lot of Habitat for Humanity, because I really enjoyed that. That fills your heart.
My mom was heavily involved.
Oh yeah,
when she was,
yeah,
working at the time, she would do that stuff all the time. Like she would get a group of friends and go. So
that's what we
did.
That's
huge.
We organized, and that was cool because a lot of guys in the NARI chapter, we could work on weekends, but now we're volunteering. Instead of me doing a roof for money, I'm doing a roof for a little old lady that might be down in the dumps and can't afford to have her roof fixed. So we would go and we get the shingles donated, and so I met my current leads that are still with me for 22 years now. I met them at these functions. And when that company dissolved, I reached out and said, oh, you guys want to take a leap of faith? Come on over. I had just signed a big job. And they were a little hesitant because I was new. And they liked me, but they were worried about me a little bit. Sure. Like, come on, we're going to do this.
It's the same thing, like when you're hiring employees versus if they want to go to a new company, they're sniffing you out too.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, they had worked for this company for, a decent amount of time.
Sure.
And that was about to change. But I had worked with them, on some habitat builds and went to some Windows seminars. So I got to know them from the NARI meetings. But I know that I knew from I had 2 employees that just weren't they were great people, just weren't the right fit. That these guys were, just because I worked with them and I knew having the experience, I knew what I didn't want. And these guys fit the bill. Once I hired them, I had to take the belt off, hang it up, and run. Not run away, run to that hill that I was talking about.
Yep.
And now I was able to focus on the relationship building, the estimating during the day, not at nighttime.
Yeah.
Then I'm NARI, and they're like, well, you shouldn't be working at nighttime, and you should be charging for your estimates. I remember thinking, somebody told me who's charging for so you're going to get paid to write an estimate, and
in today's world, how does that work? Do a lot of people still charge for estimates, or do you see a lot of people doing free estimates?
There's a ton of people doing free estimates.
Yeah, I see a little bit of both. Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, like, you don't want to waste your time, and you're already at a tier where you don't need to.
Yeah. I have not done a free estimate in probably 20 years.
Wow.
Now, there might be 1 or 2 like existing clients, and sometimes you fall out of process. Like I'm not charging, like for existing clients that we do work for.
Of course.
And I'm not saying I haven't done the free estimate. You have to adjust your cadence according to your pipeline.
Sure.
Work. So you might, if your pipeline is small, you might start doing the free estimates again. But when you have a bigger pipeline, and the other part of it, and I don't want to say I'm charging for estimates. What I'm charging for is the formal statement of work.
Sure.
I will come out, we phone call, talk to people, find out what their needs are. And now that I've been doing this for so long, when in my industry, I know roughly what a primary bathroom is going to cost. I know roughly what a kitchen is going to cost. I know roughly. So I do have that first phone call, and I do like to talk investment with clients,
Sure.
the prospective clients during that phone call, because everybody's busy, time's busy. And if they're that range, I want to say typically kitchen is anywhere from here and here.
I just feel like it's fair to be transparent nowadays. It's like there's so much wishy-washy in the construction world. Like you have your really great contractors and you have these guys that are just starting. Prices can range from hundreds of thousands of dollars depending on what you're doing. So that transparency is like so big. And I feel like I've learned that from working with you and just talking with you and other contractors. Like when I'm communicating with a client, that transparency of like, even if I don't know the price, to give them a solid range that I know is going to fit.
Yeah.
And obviously research before so you don't shoot yourself in the foot.
Well, yeah. But when it's on the phone call, it's a broad range.
Sure.
And I say, listen, I haven't met you, but it's not going to be less than this. And it shouldn't be more than this unless we're going to start gold leafing, and we can go as far as you want. But this is averages.
Where you start opening walls and something crazy happens.
But this is the averages. And if somebody says, yeah, that's perfect, then I do come out and I meet with them. There's no money exchanged yet.
Sure.
And I will walk through the space, and I will then share what the process looks like. I will share with them what a formal statement of work looks like, what a detailed proposal looks like, what a construction schedule looks like, what their homework assignment sheet looks like, and our preferred vendor list. I show them all those things so that they can get a sense of what they're about to pay for if they want us to do an estimate.
Sure.
Because all of this, you can do an estimate, but what is an estimate? You have is everything picked? The hardware you're doing on your cabinetry. Do you know the plumbing fixtures? Do you have well, no, I don't know that yet. So what is my estimate? I'm going to sit here and write an estimate to you. What is it based on? Is it my idea of your idea of what this project's going to be?
Sure.
And if you're getting estimates from 4 other people, it's going to be all over the place unless you have a plan and a design. So as you go through the timeline, design build is our philosophy. So I don't do the design in-house, but I work with a myriad of amazing designers.
Yes, you do.
And we partner with them. And so when I am out meeting with a client, I can tag, we have our Gemmi Construction bus. It's fictitious. It's our bus. I'm the driver. My wife, Lizzie, is, right there. And she can drive the bus too. We both can drive the bus. We both have our license and certifications. Behind us is, you got Brent, you've got, all the office, and then you've got all of the people that are on it. And then you have all of the trades and vendors on the bus. So when I pull up to meet with a new prospective client, I will, and if we're moving to that next step, I then will go, you, and you. You're going to open the door up, let them out, and based on their needs. So I pair them. But the whole design build process is work with the number and work to it. Keep an eye on it, the dials and knobs, like, hey, you're welcome to be in that room over there at Ferguson's. Know that room's expensive. We can dial the numbers to go up if you go in that room. Numbers go down if we stay over here.
Sure.
So that's a quick nutshell of the design build philosophy. I just don't do that in-house.
Sure.
But
I can imagine that's a lot to take on.
Yeah.
You already got enough going on.
Yeah.
Hand it to someone that does it every day, right?
Right. And I do enjoy that aspect of it. So, but I kind of took us from year to like fast forward. I skipped a whole bunch of material in between, but.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, we could talk for hours about, how Gemmi came about. Well, tell me a little bit, like, you're known for your high-end craftsmanship. I know you for that, and I've known you for, 8, 9, 10 years now. I don't even know. But tell me a little bit about, like, what sets your team apart from other contractors and other builders, because I know there's some really key points that do set you apart, and I hear other people talk about it. So I just want to hear what's on your mind and what you think about that.
I wouldn't say what makes us better. Like, why does that make us better than all I can respond to is what I know, what we do, what I do. Whether it makes us better or not, there's tons of amazing contractors in the area. What I can tell you is what I do. Our philosophy is creating these relationships. And I know that the guys that I have are all highly, highly skilled. They're finished carpenters. They do beautiful work. They're clean, they're neat, they're organized, they're professional, they're kind, they're supportive for our clients, they're caring. So when I meet with a client, I'm not in the room to say, well, our miters on our trim is going to be better than anybody else in the industry. Our crown molding and our base trim and this and that is the best in the industry. No, everybody's excellent at that. So what I have found is all about 90% of the issues that you hear in the construction, you hear, oh, this job went off the rails. I would be willing to bet that if you really started peeling layers back of the onion, that it comes down to communication, right?
I'm going to have to agree.
It's communication. And sometimes us as carpenters, we don't like to disappoint people. So we tend to not communicate like, oh, I got 2 other jobs going. So we're going to start this one, but I got to get back over there. And they just kind of go over and they work the other one because they don't want to say, hey, listen, I got another job going on, so we're going to disappear for a couple days. It just disappear for a couple days.
Yep.
My philosophy has always been setting expectations up front. Here's what you're going to expect. Also, what I have done is I have assigned a lead to a project, and that lead is only doing that project. That lead runs that job from start to finish. So they're not bouncing around doing 3 other jobs.
Sure.
They're only on that job. Now, the guys, the carpenters and the team under them, they will float between the other team. But what is consistent is that lead. That has created that communication trail, which has created this energy, this sound that you're hearing out there. Well, they just do great work. It may not be, well, the work is the work. It is, like I said, there's I haven't, unless it's, they're all out there. There's
Sure.
sort of the hacky ones. But the circle of contractors that I'm in, we're all the same. We are all the same. And so the communication style is setting expectations, having a construction schedule, having all of that. First thing on the wall on our job site, most of the time, is we hang the schedule, tape it. So usually print out like a blueprint. It's a Gantt chart. You can't just put a Gantt chart on the wall unless everybody's done their homework, including the client.
Sure.
The client needs to do their homework. I won't start a project, and this is also what you will hear out there. I won't start your job until every single decision. I give you homework assignment sheet. Let's say we're doing a kitchen for you. You're going to have every choice. After the design is done, I go through and I pull out every choice you need to make. And I give you that list and check off boxes. And then if you want to go and do all the shopping on your own, here's the people to go see. Oh, you may not, I don't know if I want to, that's intimidating to me. Well, here's the designer that I tapped on her bus. She's going to go with you. And now she's going to help you with your homework.
Oh my God.
Once you have done all of your homework.
You got a tutor.
Yeah, you've got a tutor if you need it.
Sure.
And some people don't. Some people are like, nope, I watch HGTV. I know exactly what I want. I've got it all picked out. I've already been to, there are those too.
Yeah,
but
type A, type B people.
Absolutely. But this is how you can give that schedule that's on the wall. They've done all of their homework, right? This is during the design phase. Everything, grout color. I don't really care about the chandeliers that are hanging from the ceiling. I don't care so much about the grout color.
Sure.
In the grout. But I do want to know that that I still won't start the job until all those decisions are made. Then what we do is once they've done their homework, we do a trade day. We call it the trade walkthrough. And it starts at 8 o'clock. The plumber shows up. We gather all that information from them doing their homework. We gather from all the vendors we compile it. And then we print packets out in the office with each trade's prospective plan and the information related to each trade.
Wow.
So 8 o'clock, all of us are wearing plumbing hats, including our client. Cool. Yep. Talking to plumbing. Here's the instant. Yeah, they were doing an instant hot. Oh, here's the faucet. Oh, that's a bridge faucet. That takes an extra 2 hours to put in. Yep. Oh, the shower valves. They got 7 body sprays, a rain head, and
Smart technology.
We know all of this in advance. And not only that, during that design phase, I may even show up with one of my carpenters, and we're going to cut holes in the walls, and we're going to look for anywhere we're doing things ahead of time.
See what's there.
So we're doing a home inspection. We're bringing everybody through. So 8 o'clock plumber, 9 o'clock the electrician, and we're wearing those hats, and we give them their time to walk and see the project. So they come back to us with their proposals for exactly what we talked about. Now the client might say, hey, while you're here, we call it the while you're here list. We want that too. And I teach this to my clients. I want that while you're here list. Over the next couple of months, you're going to be upstairs. You're like, you know what, this toilet, they're going to be here in a couple of weeks doing this bathroom. Let's get a couple months. This toilet needs to be changed.
Wow.
Okay, add it to the list so that I can then come back to them with every single thing that's in the agreement. I know exactly what I know. Lead times. I'm not designing anymore. Design ends. Now, do change orders happen?
Sure.
Change? Absolutely. But in order to give that timeline on the wall, if you create that, if they've done all their homework, there's no reason that you can't follow that timeline. And we do a lot of, you'll hear the noise that you're hearing is, wow, because they not only, client had an amazing experience, because by the time we show up to do the work, it's done. All the dominoes are standing. All the dominoes. It's like a game of dominoes. So you start all the dominoes, and you knock them and they go.
Yeah.
Well, if that one domino isn't standing just right, what happens? It stops. Well, you know what usually that domino is? It's the kitchen sink that nobody thought about until the end. And they're like, hey, we found the sink. We need the sink. They're coming to template countertops next week. Well, we found this beautiful sink, but it's 3 weeks out. Domino stops. Now I got a lead. Now you're like, well, what are we going to do? And the plumber's like, well, I'm going on vacation in 3 weeks. I won't be here to be able to hook it up. This is where the communication break. This is where that domino, now you knock the next domino and it continues again, but then it stops and it starts this. So if everybody does their part, as I teach my clients, do your part before I start. It keeps them.
Do your part before I start.
Do your part before I start. And then that is how I can give you a timeline that I'll tape on your wall. Because I know, I'll talk to Ferguson. What's the lead time on that? We're researching in the background all the lead times for everything because we're staging all those dominoes.
So by the time you're putting a hammer through the wall, it's like exactly.
Well, you're not opening up the wall. Oh, there's a pipe in the way. Oh,
sure.
Oh, that was a bearing wall. Now we got to put a beam in. Calling people. Now that timeline's pushing, and the other people that I told them that, hey, we're starting your project on that date. Not anymore. So I now have all these timelines for each lead. And then we have the Gemmi master timeline in the office, which is just the color of the lead's color.
Sure.
And it tells me from June to September that Dan's not available. He's available after that. And then so I could tell, well, what's your schedule looking like? Well, I can tell you when my next crew is available as of today because everybody's done their part. So the noise that you're hearing it's not about the miters.
Sure.
It's about the process, at least in my
client experience.
Because today, when you get like the new Apple phone and you open up that box and
man, that's no better feeling.
Oh, the box smells nice and it's soft and supple. It's the experience.
It really is.
That is what it related to. If you can put your process, put it in a nice box and it's exciting from the moment the box opens to start using it, that is my secret. So I don't want to say what we do better. I'm just telling you what we do that has yielded us this noise that you're hearing.
And so many years of practicing doing it, it's just getting better by the day. And I've been there to experience it behind the scenes. I see you talking to clients and, building that relationship even more when I'm there. And it's so, I learn from that. Like I watch that and I'm like, wow, that's the Gemmi touch.
It is.
So.
And that's also my personality. I'm friends with most of my clients now, and we become close with a lot of them.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you and I met.
Yeah.
So I was bartending at Heart of Oak Pub, Bocce Restaurant, right off 413 and 202. And when I was going to school, I was bartending nights there. And when I finished school, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was still bartending. And I was like, man, I have this education. What am I going to do with it?
What am I going to do with this?
So. You and Lizzie would come in on Thursday nights. It's date night. And I'd say it'd be like right around like 8 o'clock or so. Maybe a little earlier, a little later.
Sometimes we go to New Hope, go to a dinner.
Sure.
And then we would stop on our way home, stop in and see all you guys.
It's one of the best nightcap spots around.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people know about it, but if you don't know about it, you should definitely go check it out.
Absolutely.
If you're local.
Heart of Oaks.
Food's great.
Atmosphere.
The bartenders are hilarious.
The bartenders are funny. It's like the main owner, Michael Scott of the bartending world. I always say he's like the Michael Scott of the bartending world. But it's just a great vibe, and it's always different energy. We used to Thursday nights we would go in there, and you never knew it could be a different vibe. You go in to be this group would show up that was at a golf outing, and there were 3 sheets to the wind already. And you're laughing and you're talking to people. Then the week later, it might be a bachelorette party that came in, and just a great vibe.
And it's crazy. It changed so much since COVID. Before COVID, we'd be open till 2 a.m. And then after COVID, it'd close at like, 11 or 12.
11 o'clock and
it's
throwing you out.
Yeah. You're only 3 at the bar or whatever. But anyway, so
you were entrepreneurial. We used to talk, and you're like, hey, I'm doing beard cream. I'm like, yeah, well, I had a tough time growing hair and beards. I can't even grow a beard like you. You're like, yeah, I got this beard lotion,
It was like my first adventure. I was at my house one night, and I was using some beard pomade, and I was like, this is crap. Like, it smells bad. I don't even know if it's actually making my beard smoother or whatever. And I didn't have a beard like I do now, but it was just starting. And I was like, I want a beard. How can I tame it to make it look great and grow better? And I was like, I can do this. Like, I read about it, researched, I watched videos. I ordered off a Uline, like all the containers, the stickers, and the labels. I didn't know if it was legal or anything, but I was like, I'm doing it. I'll sell it for cash and I'll make some money. I did pretty well. Like, the first year, I think I made like around $2,000 while I was bartending. And, the only relationships I was building were people at the bar and people that would compliment my beard. I'd be like, here's my card. Here's our website. You can order it. I'll drop it off to you or ship it to you, whatever.
This is the seed of the entrepreneur.
This is when I was like, this is fun. That's when I, started. But anyways, talking to you and learning business and other people that came into the bar. And it's such a hub of like the pharmaceutical world. So I was learning from a lot of high up people in executive positions and C-level positions. And I would, eavesdrop on their conversations with their other exec friends that they're sitting, getting too drunk, and hear all these amazing stories behind the scenes that probably not too many people get to hear. And I was like, yeah, they might work for a company, but they have that entrepreneur, mindset constantly. That's how they make these companies grow. And, so from talking to you and some of those other people, I was like, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't know what I want to do yet, but I want to do it on my own. I was working at like a seafood and meat place for a little bit, which was great. It was called IRP Foods in Telford, and they deliver amazing product to a ton of restaurants in the area. And I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I was good at what I did. I built their website. I built a ton of marketing material for them. And that's when I was like, I love the creative space. Like, what can I do in that space? And I had a camera forever, but like I never like took it serious. It was just like hobbyists would take, my mom's restaurant, Cafe Avocado, a long time ago, which is now like Maz or Maze in Percy.
Yeah,
it's like a French style restaurant.
Yeah.
So my mom used to own the restaurant before that and sold it to him. It was called Cafe Avocado, and it was like 2011. It was the worst time, honestly, with the way the market was going.
Yes.
So she sold to that guy, and anyways, but when she was there, like I loved taking pictures of food and just like the people there, and it was like my first like love for a camera. I was young. It was 2011. 9, 7. I don't even know. But I was young and I was just trying to, feed passions, and that was one of them. So fast forward back to bartending, I started taking photos of food at Bocce, and I think that's kind of when we ran into each other.
Well, we were talking. I remember showing you some of the photography that we were doing, and then all of a sudden, and we have a friend, Lizzie and I have a good friend that we met who's a photographer, and her pictures were just absolutely stunning. When I noticed, it was all natural light. And then I started looking at some of our photography, which was great. It was perfect for the time, but I noticed it felt harsh. And so but I'm a loyal person too. So I would see like the photography you would do, and I'd be like, oh my God, that is just amazing. And I just felt like, all right, I got to try them all one. And I have never looked back. And I'm amazed on how quickly you just took from filming food to parlay this into whatever the last 5-6 years into this, the OM Media empire that it is today. And it's just, I'm so proud of you, number one. Number two, like you just locked into something that brings you joy and passion, and look at what you've done.
It's crazy. Thank you. And you were a big part of my growth, like not to downplay that at all. And the how I got started with shooting interiors and architecture and real estate was one of these Merck execs came to the bar, who I knew. I didn't even know he worked at Merck at the time until he told me. But his name was Michael, and he would come in all the time. He was a regular. He was a great guy, and I would have great conversations with him. He was funny. He was witty. He was super smart. He was like biochemist, engineer, director, or something. And he's like, I'm getting a divorce, and I was like, oh man, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I want you to photograph my house. I see you taking photos here. Have you ever done that? And I was like, no, but I'll tell you what. I'll go home. Let me research how to do this. I'll watch a couple YouTube videos, and I'll do it for free. And he goes, done. Be at my house Friday morning, 9 a.m. I was like, okay. So it's Tuesday night. I'm talking to him, and I'm like, okay, this is like the only thing on my mind now. I'm like behind the bar when it's slow, like looking at YouTube videos. Like, how do I do this? How to photograph a house? And there's not much out there at this time, right? Like real estate photography, it was there, but there wasn't like a bunch of how to do. And I found this one guy, I forget his name, but he had a bunch of videos. I think his name was Nathan Cool. He's on YouTube, and now he's got a huge YouTube following and channel. And he's just expert level, like how to do real estate photography. Just real estate, nothing else. So I watched a few of his videos. I show up Friday morning, and the realtor meets me there, and it's Jay Spaziano. And I've seen his signs everywhere, and I'm immediately like intimidated. I'm like, oh God. And I'm like, why doesn't he have a photographer? And I introduce myself. I shake his hand. I'm like, hi, I'm Oscar Michaels. I own hOMe Media. This is right when I started, hOMe Media. And I'm just doing food at this point, no houses. And I shake his hand, and he goes, oh, yeah, nice to meet you. Come on in. I'll show you around. Super nice guy. Like, I thought he was going to be, like, harsh, rough around the edges, New York type guy. Yeah. But no, he's a Philly guy, super laid back, loves Philly sports, and we were talking about that. So he shows me around the house, and he goes, all right, I just need, every room photographed, if the kitchen or living room's good, get a couple different angles. So I did. I go home after all that. I see Michael there for a minute. He leaves to go grocery shopping while I'm photographing the house. And I leave, and I feel confident, but I'm definitely scared. I'm like, did I miss any rooms? Did I get the angles they wanted? I'm looking at like previous listings on MLS to see like what other angles people took. And I go home, and I'm like, okay, I have these photos. I got to edit these. Like, I guess I got to watch some more videos now that I shot it. Like, better learn how to edit these, right? And I have no one to ask because this is such a niche industry, right? Like, I have no, like, you had Jay Maxwell, you had all these other I'm like, I got to figure this out, like, today, because they need these tomorrow to list it. Like, it's quick turnaround, turn and burn. So I'm up till 3 in the morning, like, editing these photos, 4 in the morning, after bartending that night, because I had to play Friday night. I'm there till 2 a.m. And then, but I was done at like 11, so I had 11 to 3 to edit, went to work, and then came home and then finished up editing. And I deliver the photos, and I'm like, I don't love these, but like, I think they're good based off of what I learned today. So I send the photos. It's like 2 hours. I'm like waiting for an email or a text like, hey, we love them or something. Or I freaking hate them. These are the worst things I've ever seen. I'm like, thank God it was free. And I get an email from Jay, and he goes, Oscar, these are fantastic. What's your availability for next week? And I was like, holy smokes, like, availability for next week? Like, you have more? And he's like, I have 3 more next week. Do you do video too? And I'm like, up to my eyeball already.
You're like, oh yeah.
I'm like so tired. I'm working nights, and now all of a sudden I'm going to be working full days. So I'm up at 6 a.m. to drink my coffee and get in the mindset or whatever, go to the gym. And I do 3 shoots for him next week, and he loves them. And he's like, these are fantastic. And I did my first video that following week too. It was god awful. If I could pull up that footage somewhere, I would love to show you.
You got to do a look back every now.
So
like early hOMe Media.
Seriously, I'm afraid to show the people that content, but I feel like I should.
I think that would be.
It's rewarding. I look back on it occasionally. Like, I'll come across an old YouTube video that I posted years ago, or an old marketing video, and I'm like, wow, we came a long way.
Yeah.
So
you have to look back every now and then, Oscar. You have to move forward. You got to look over your shoulder every now and then, because otherwise you're always going to be like, you think you're always struggling. You're doing this and that, but you gotta stop and turn and go, look at this. Okay, I'm doing this.
I've been like listening to a bunch of podcasts, and I think that's one of the biggest things that has helped me propel forward is take a moment, be grateful for where I'm at and where I've gotten to. And I feel like life and work is so fast paced, which I'm sure you understand, with family and everything else. Like, it's hard to remember to take a minute and be like, wow, I made it here.
Yes. That's important to do.
And it's not without like a lot of people like yourself. And I'm grateful for all the relationships I have and that I've built. And, I think there's so many pieces to the puzzle that make a business what it is
Absolutely
today. And I look back to where I started by myself and just had the encouragement from people that I knew were good, relationships.
Yeah.
But now I'm in business and I'm working with them every day or talking to them, and I love that, and I'm grateful
Well, you're
for it.
mentoring others.
Trying.
Inadvertently, you may not even know it, but there's people watching. Like, I want to be like us. That's just so.
I don't know about that, but
No, I don't know. Again, look over your shoulder. There's people behind you watching. Yeah, for sure.
well, I love to educate when I can. It's hard to find time sometimes, but I know it's such an important thing because I didn't have a ton of that when I was, directly have that for my industry, but I had it through people like yourself or other people that like would subliminally coach me or mentor me, and I thought it was just such a great, part of the growth.
Time will come to get to at some point, maybe, if that's the way you want to help you fill. So there's like things in life. It's like you take from buckets, or do you fill buckets? And what fills your bucket instead of what takes from it? Like now that I've been around long enough, like doing community, giving back to the community, that fills my bucket. Giving back to this community that's provided a life for us, just right here. I have a very small circle, and some of the designers and architects know I won't go more than 25 minutes from my house into Doylestown, just because it's all here. I don't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
I don't need to be having guys driving an hour.
Yeah.
But it's that filling bucket. So you're going to get there where, might be another 10 years from now, you're going to have people doing things. You start handing off hats, the things that don't bring you joy. Start handing those hats off and focus on the ones that bring you joy. And then you get to the point where you have more time. And that's when you could, if that was a direction you ever chose to go in.
And it definitely is.
Workshops, like photography workshops.
And I love that. Like, I love to teach. It's just I don't get the opportunity too much. Like, I did one thing at, I forget what college it was. It wasn't Del Val. But I did a teaching thing with all these kids that wanted to be in the creative space. And I remember sitting there in college, and I didn't take any photography courses. I literally just learned on YouTube. But they had the opportunity to learn from, someone that's done it from scratch. And I was so excited to teach. A woman that used to work with me, she was a journalist, a reporter here. She was the professor, and she contacted me to do it. And it was so rewarding. Like you were saying, what fills your bucket? Like, that definitely did. It wasn't like putting ping pong balls where there were spaces in that bucket. It was like pouring sand in there. It was a solid bucket.
Right. Then you put water, because that fills even more spaces.
And it was just, it really was. It was so rewarding.
That's great. And there's things that I got involved with, like Middle Bucks Tech School is very important to me. I'm very involved with that school. That school saved me, because school wasn't for me. Regular school, college. That was a career path that I chose. And I'm so grateful for that, because it's got me where I am today. So I'm giving back to that school. I'm involved with the Alumni Association that I've created. A bunch of us have also just recently created an education foundation. And Education Foundation is where donors can donate money, and that money that we're raising for this foundation helps fill the gaps. Like, there's grants and things these schools get, but they don't cover everything. So this foundation is kind of like you're saying, it's like the sand, the bucket full of ping pong balls. It's the sand that fills in the layers around it. And so giving money, that helps students that might be coming in, that if there's a marketing that they might need to buy a camera that they can't afford, or carpenters coming in that need tools that may not be able to afford them, or cosmetology students that come in. Cosmetology needs like $1,000 for tool, scissors and things before they can start that schooling. Well, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
And so that's what this foundation is for. That's what the reason I'm sharing that with you is there's probably a marketing. I know there's a marketing department there. They have the OAC, which is the Occupational Advisory Committee. It meets twice a year. And that is a good way to fill your bucket. You sit with the teachers, and what's the curriculum? What are they doing for the marketing? And build those relationships with the teacher. When you grow your business, you're going to say, hey, this young kid, this kid's going places, and bring them under your wing as a co-op student, train, and then they may be the next person that comes up.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
And I've often thought about that, like colleges. Like, I remember being in college and being like, man, I just paid for all this, or I didn't even pay for it yet. I'm still going to be paying for it.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do?
Yeah,
It's a scary feeling.
it is a scary feeling. And to be a mentor, which doesn't take a lot of time, twice a year that you would meet for that. But probably Bucks County Community College probably has a photography program that those teachers would love to have somebody like yourself come in and just give a quick talk, show your story, inspire these kids that are gonna, this was my path. So our employees, they're all have been raised like we've raised that most of our company, other than the original 3 guys that came over 22 years ago, everybody underneath of that, most of them have come through the tech school program on the co-op.
Wow.
That's how I did it. I went on co-op, and then I worked with co-op with Maxwell, and then they took me full time. So the advantage of that is that you get to raise your people, raise your people in
Start to-
culture,
start
and
to
do things.
finish.
So that might be a suggestion even for the listeners is a lot of contractors ask me, what's your secret sauce? Is, we're on our 3rd generation. So the first 3 guys raised the next 2 leads. Now those leads are raising the next 3 under them.
Jeez.
So it's like a generational thing, kind of, so to speak. But
That's amazing.
it's that's the culture. They're not learning bad habits, but it takes time. You got to put your time in for it. They're coming into you green. But if you become friends and helpful to the teachers become your scout.
Sure.
This is for all the listeners too. Get involved with these schools and be
That's good
helpful
for
to the teachers. Give talks to the teachers.
Yeah.
Come in, and then the teachers will be like, they're the ones that are seeing these kids come through. This one's sharp.
Wow.
This kid's going places. Yo, John, I've got one for you. Oscar, this kid's so that's been, or whoever else out there. It's just these schools, they need help from the community, and it's just a really good way. It's not instant. You're not hiring the guy that you can throw into the mix and he's doing things. You got to spend the time to finish the raising of them and the training.
Sure.
So you have to finish that.
That's amazing. It really is. And I feel more people should consider that too. And it's something I just haven't gotten to it yet, but I would like to.
Yeah. This is for the listeners, and it's great. Anybody starting out, it's just look to the local schools. They're always looking for help.
100%. Well, let's dive back into the Gemmi world. Like what aspects of marketing did you see were most successful for your business? And it doesn't have to be me related, just in general, overall, like what marketing was successful for you?
So there's like a rule of thumb. You're supposed to, a certain percentage of your revenue should be put towards marketing. And when you start doing a lot of revenue, that number can really go up. Obviously it's relative, right? I didn't really have much marketing, but my very first foothold into marketing was when I was a NARI. I'm involved with NARI, a NARI member. They had these programs every year that was called the Contractor of the Year Award. They now call them Remodeler of the Year Awards. They were originally called Cody's. They're now called Roadies. ROTY, but it's COTY was Contractor of the Year. So we called it the Cody Awards. And each year you would be in different categories. And it was kind of like our chapter's Golden Globes or the Grammys. Nice. And so you would compete with your other, this is where the competitive side comes out. So there would be 3 different people entered in the kitchens from 250 to 300,000, say. And there's different categories for each. Sure. So you would have to fill out, we had to make a binder. It's a lot of work. We make binders and we're putting all of the different, you have to tell the story of the project in a binder. Then the judges go through them, and then if you win it, we would go to it was like you get suit tie,
really,
be at like the William Penn Inn,
wow,
wherever it was, and we would bring our clients if we submitted. So this was early. This is 20 years ago, and we would submit these Contractor of the Year awards every year. Well, if you won an award, Bucks County Magazine would pick up the publication and publish your story and your project for free. Because remember, 20 plus years ago, I was still making mistakes. I didn't have a lot of extra money.
Sure.
So you asked about what was my first dabble in marketing. That was it. And then they did the magazine print. So then what I did is I got the magazine I would buy just the article, and I made a folder out of it, and I put it in my sales folder. And then we started advertising in Bucks County Magazine. That was it. That was all my marketing. There wasn't social media. Sure, wasn't those things yet. So that was my first dabble in marketing, was through NARI, through the Contractor of the Year Awards, through the wind, and that would get us a magazine. I got published 3 times in those first 5 years of projects.
Wow.
And we were starting to win a lot of awards. I think since then, I probably have about 25 Contractor of the Year awards. We have 1 regional win, and we have 1 national win. So we when you win locally, it then goes to your region, because this is a national association.
Sure.
And there's chapters all over the United States. Then it's like the Eastern Seaboard. We would win in the same category to that. Then if you won that, all the winners from the regions you would go to a national. So we traveled to Austin, Texas.
Did you win a national?
And I did. We won a national award for a historical project that we did right here in Doylestown.
That's crazy.
It was such.
Are you able to talk about that project?
Oh yeah, it was the original. It was at the Thomas Fell home.
Okay.
1699.
Holy.
And we underpinned the old part of the house, gave a proper basement on the addition, and built an addition onto the house that looks like it's been there for 300 years. Slate roof, copper.
That's how people tell me they know it's a Gemmi project. Like, I feel like you're so honed in on those historical renovations, and you have been for a long time since I've known you. And the seamlessness of the new part of the home to the original is crazy.
Yeah. And that's working with the right team, working with the right architects, working with the right designers. And then my input too. So that's another thing our clients enjoy, because I love what I do. I love the design. I love the architectural details. So I'm very involved. I will tell the architect, we're working on this project, but I'm going to be over your shoulder. I might make a suggestion. Hey, tweak this and adjust that. And so it's like a team effort. It's a collective effort. There's no egos. Check your ego at the door. Let's look at these plans.
Seriously.
And that's with the client, we're all going to work on this together and make sure that it is. But that project was one of my pivotal. That was just the feather in our cap, was building that addition on that house and using the old materials, and it's got old beams in it. And to this day, if you walked up to the house, I mean, old farmhouses have additions on them. So
sure,
it is an addition to a farmhouse, but you couldn't tell that was 2002.
Wow.
You couldn't tell it was 2002. You could say, oh, maybe it's early 1900s.
Wow.
1699, the first part of the house. That's before this.
That's got to be like one of the oldest buildings around.
Thomas Fell was a school teacher at the Buckingham Friends School in the mid 1800s, and he lived in that house, and that's what Fell Road is named after. That's what house is.
Crazy. Wow.
Fell Road.
Well, to jump into the marketing side of things, like, what about your house on North Main Street in New Hope?
Yeah.
Like, you're really pumping it, and I've been enjoying every moment of it and how it's coming together. Like,
yeah, it's kind of interesting, and you and I have grown together with this. I mean, you look at the very first, how many cuts do we do? I was a blibbering mess and too many ums and ahs, and I finally learned to relax, but people always like, you need a show. For even clients, the way I describe and talk things, like everything, you need your own show. And so I'm just enjoying being able to talk about how the project comes together, because it comes from the heart, and it's easy for me to talk about it, not reading a script.
And it shows too.
If I have to read a script, I'm going to sit there and, it's going to look like, you're going to tell, it's like, Prezi, teller reading, the teleprompters are up there. Like, I can't do that. It's just it's got to come from the heart. So I've been really enjoying that. And that's something you and I have learned. I learned from you. You're such a good, you always like, John, let's do it this way. Act like you're walking this. So you're like an amazing director. And I think that we've got good content over there, and we are getting a following that is like, when's the next one's coming? Like, everybody's like anxious to hear. It's like a how-to. And the other neat thing is that we're doing these reels. I'm enjoying doing it, but I'm also going to give that to the client. They will always have the story of their project. By the time that project's done, there'll probably be 50 reels that will start from the beginning all the way to the end. And that's to them. That's a gift to them.
I mean, I think it's so unique because not many people in your industry are doing like the piece by piece from start to finish. Yeah. They do like the beginning and then they'll do the end. They're missing all the juicy stuff in the middle.
That's exactly.
Like, the beginning of the book's great, the end of the book's great, but the middle is like where all the stuff happens. Yeah. And people that have seen your reels and the people that are watching and follow along on that journey, I think it's just so, one, educational, like if they're ever going to plan a project or do something, there's so many good facts and educational, traits in those videos
Yeah.
that I learn when I'm shooting, and I'm like, what's the floodplain, and like why is that there, and like what is boral? Like
Yeah,
I'm learning all these
you're an expert.
learning all these new things, and I think it's just so interesting.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about architecture and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but it's just so cool to learn from someone that does it every single day.
That project is very special. I'm not a home builder, and this might be a one-off Gemmi Construction build, this house. It's not what we do. We do kitchens. We do whole house remodels. I will do additions. This is big. The main reason I'm doing this, number one, an amazing client, just absolutely amazing clients that just love the process. They love the journey, and they appreciate everything that we're doing, and they appreciate me being able to tap the right team to be able to pull that off. Well, that's costly. And it's more for them about the experience. And, they're obviously making an investment in a New Hope. When that house is done, it will look like it's been there for 100 years. And, slate roof, copper standing seam, copper gutters.
Oh, the mock-up is beautiful.
You see the mock-up there, like all those details. So when it's done, it's going to be the feather in the cap, to put in there, the quill or whatever that is. Just, that we did it, and it's going to be, people are going to walk by, and it's going to be amazing. Like that is going to be something that people, even today, they walk by. If I'm standing out there talking to the landscape architect about how we're going to set the piers and the gates, if we're doing gates, and the people just stop us. They're like, we just have to tell you, this is the most beautiful home.
I've been there like flying the drone after you've already left and we did our shoot together, and people are like, do you know when it's going to be done? I'm like, just keep walking by, because it's going to be great every day you do. Yeah. And for those that you haven't seen it, you just take a walk down New Hope. It's on the north side of Main Street, going up out of town on the canal side. It's on your left if you're walking north, and it's absolutely stunning. You'll see Gemmi sign out there. You'll see Period Architecture sign out there. Yeah. Just a full team effort, and it's gorgeous. Yeah. And if you're not following John on Instagram or Facebook, please do. You'll see these amazing reels that are coming out that he's producing. On a closing note for Gemmi Construction, what can you say to the audience or viewers about your business, and what your future's looking like for the next 5 to 10 years in business, and what you're looking to do?
Well, I have a 10-year-old, so I'm not retiring anytime soon. I have been the same size for 15 years. I've been the same. I could have easily have tripled, quadrupled the company, but what I did was I learned what brings me joy. And I don't really desire to be managing salespeople and managing designers and architects. I enjoy one-on-one with the client. I have stopped growth. Our revenue has been the same revenue for the last 12 years. We haven't changed. Our revenue has been the same. I'm a modest person. I have my hobbies. I have my toys that I do enjoy, but I'm not here to be the next multi-millionaire. That's not my goal. So we're just going to continue riding this out. We have a long lead time because of our clients that are waiting for us. They know, and they appreciate that I'm not just hiring people to take care of the demand. The difference is I have a longer lead time. And we're fortunate because I have clients that we've been working with. We know you're at least a year and a half out, and we want to talk to you about the project for 2027. So we actually have 2 projects in development for 2027. So 2026 is
That's bonkers.
Yeah, because it's a wait list.
But I get it. I get it.
Our clients, they see me. They see me. I'm there.
Yeah,
right.
That's a huge part.
I don't have design. I don't have salespeople that you're meeting with. It's me, and that's what I've always wanted, and I never want to change that. So we could have easily have done that climb. I say easily. I could have, because we've got the
potential
leads that come in. The stuff I'm doing, the marketing I'm doing now is more brand reinforcement. So I'm now focusing a lot of giving back to the community, sponsoring the CB West cheerleading, CB East swim team,
the car show,
very involved with the Doylestown at Dusk car show for the Doylestown Rotary. Just giving back. So what I've done is I'm not doing a whole lot of magazine print. We have an ad at the County Theater, which is nice, and I have an ad in Bucks County Magazine and Rivertown magazines. We also am featured in the Herald a lot. the one editor there, she reaches out to me because I give her content, and so I'm featured in there a lot. That is people also following along with those stories that are in the Herald. But I'm not focused on, like, I'm not trying to, the stuff that you and I are doing, Oscar, is more about just people following along and that brand, following along with the journey.
People comment to me, like, if they see me at Wawa or something, I'd be like, I just saw Gemmi. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Like, what else is coming with that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Talk to John.
Yeah.
So I think local community members are definitely excited to see, one, your growth over the years. I've only met you, 10 years ago now, and I've seen so much growth just from when we started to now.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the partnership and all the stuff that you've given us. And
it's an absolute pleasure working with us.
And it's so much fun. Like, I just enjoy going to those job sites. Like, there's some clients we show up to and it's like, oh, this is gonna be a long day.
Yeah.
And that, that's business and that's work.
It's business.
But when I go to some of your projects and stuff, I'm just like, this is gonna be sweet.
We're happy. We're all laughing and enjoying
I just feel like I'm part of the Gemmi family when I'm there, and like I feel like I'm a bigger part of the project than I actually am.
Before you even walk in the door, I've already talked you all up about our story and about Oscar and what you're just setting expectation. Like, for sure, this guy, like, you're going to come back and do a quick shoot for us. I can't be there. She's like, Oscar is amazing. He can come. But I don't have to feel like I have to be there. Like, okay, hi, this is Oscar. Remember Oscar? This is, so-and-so. You guys remember each other? Yeah, good. Okay. He's going to do the pictures. I'll stand here and make sure nobody gets, make sure no trouble's caused. I don't need to do that.
Seriously. There's some clients that love to just stand there and watch. But anyways, I know you got to get going. I wanted to say thank you so much for coming. John was our first episode here. Stay tuned for some more episodes with some great other vendors and contractors, builders, architects, realtors, the whole bit.
Fascinating. I want to learn from all the other people that you're going to bring through.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, Oscar.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
Great day, folks.